Imagine this. You're standing at a crossroads in the dead of night, a flickering street lamp casting fractured shadows across the pavement. To your left, a path winds upward, steep, unlit, lined with thorns. To your right, a smooth road descends into a city glowing with neon distractions. Your body tenses. One voice hisses, "Climb, suffer, become." Another coaxes, "Escape, numb, forget." You take a step forward, but your legs rebel as if controlled by separate minds. Here's the unsettling truth. This isn't a metaphor. It's the silent war raging inside you every moment. The self that craves meaning and the self that craves oblivion. The one who builds and the one who burns. Jung called it the shadow. Nietzsche called it the abyss. But what if this split isn't a flaw? It's the design of being human. Consider the paradox. You are both the prisoner and the warden. You draft meticulous plans for your life, then sabotage them with habits that hollow you out. You preach self-love in daylight, then berate yourself in the mirror at night. How can you simultaneously desire greatness and cling to mediocrity? Why does the part of you that longs for freedom also build thicker chains? This is not a psychological defect. It's a primal dance older than civilization. The ancient Greeks wrestled with daimons, spirits of destiny and destruction. Modern neuroscience finds battling neural networks, the prefrontal cortex plotting futures, the limbic system screaming for instant gratification. But beneath the science and myths lies a corrosive question. What if you're not one self at all, but two? And if so, which one will you feed? The street lamp flickers again. Shadows merge and fracture. You're still standing there, paralyzed, as dawn bleeds into the horizon. But this is not a nightmare, it's the first clue. To survive the war, you must first admit you're fighting it. Beneath the surface of your daily battles lies a secret. This war was never yours alone. Carl Jung warned that the shadow, the exiled parts of yourself, you deny, grows stronger in darkness, not weaker. Nietzsche saw the abyss not as a void to fear, but a mirror. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that he does not become a monster. Yet modern life conspires to keep you divided. Consumerism feeds your hungry ghost. The self that craves more, numbs more, scrolls endlessly, while algorithms profit from your fractured attention. Huxley's Brave New World was no dystopian fiction. It's the playbook for a society that addicts you to comfort, to avoid confronting your depth. Schopenhauer understood the will as a blind, insatiable force, your limbic system's ancient code, clashing with the prefrontal cortex's fragile grasp on reason. You are evolution's paradox, a creature wired for survival, yet cursed with consciousness. The same brain that dreams of writing symphonies is hijacked by dopamine, hits from viral videos. Sartre called this bad faith, the lies we tell ourselves to avoid the terrifying freedom of choice. I'll change tomorrow. You vow while your shadow smirks. But today, let's stay safe. Let's stay small. Society doesn't want your selves reconciled. A divided soul is a compliant one. Too exhausted from internal skirmishes to question the systems that profit from its fragmentation. Religions weaponize guilt to chain the shadow. Self-help gurus sell platitudes to silence the seeker. Even philosophy, Nietzsche's hammer, has been diluted into Instagram affirmations. You're trapped in a hall of mirrors, each reflection a distortion. The perfect citizen, the eternal consumer, the aspirational avatar. But here's what they refuse to tell you. The war is the wound, and the wound is the work. Viktor Frankl, surviving Auschwitz, wrote that between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space, he found freedom. But what if that space is also a battlefield? What if your rage, your pettiness, your darkest impulses are not enemies, but messengers? The street lamp's glow fades. Dawn sharpens the crossroads. You feel it now, the tremor in your bones. This is not your problem. It's the human problem. And it's about to rewrite your story. Consider the cracks you dismiss as ordinary, the friendships that dissolve without drama, the ambitions that rust in the rain of procrastination, the quiet resignation that replaces your childhood defiance. These are not accidents. They are casualties of the silent war. Every time you choose distraction over depth, approval over authenticity, safety over sovereignty, a fracture widens in your psyche. The brain adapts. Neurons that fire together, wire together. until indecision becomes identity. You grow fluent in the language of self-betrayal. Neuroscience reveals a chilling truth. When the prefrontal cortex and limbic system conflict, the brain defaults to autopilot. Cognitive biases like the spotlight effect, believing everyone judges you, or negativity bias, fixating on threats, amplify the divide. Your logical self overthinks, while your instinctual self revolts with panic attacks, burnout, or unexplained rage. Social media didn't create this schism. It weaponized it. Algorithms thrive on your fractured attention, monetizing the civil war between your aspirational self and your addicted self. Huxley's prophecy rings true. We've come to love our oppression, to adore the technologies that disembowel our capacity to think. But the damage runs deeper than individual suffering. A society of divided souls becomes a civilization of ghosts. Performative activism replaces moral courage. Politics devolves into tribal rage, a projection of our inner chaos onto the world. Dostoevsky saw it coming. If there is no God, everything is permitted. Yet even atheists bow to new gods, algorithms, influences, the cold religion of productivity. The less integrated we are internally, the more we demand external control, laws, trends, ideologies to fill the void. Here's the unbearable twist: your pain is the point. The modern world is built on the myth that you can outsource wholeness. Buy it, stream it, meditate it into being. But the shadow cannot be cancelled or curated. Suppress it, and it metastasizes into depression, conspiracy theories, or the nihilistic humor that floods your feeds. Ignore it, and you become a pawn in someone else's game. The street lamp's glow has vanished now. Dawn lays bare the cost. A life spent at war with yourself is a life half-lived. But what if this unraveling is not an end but a beginning? The moment you realize the war is rigged, everything changes. The systems that profit from your fragmentation, the productivity cults, the wellness industrial complex, the endless scroll of curated lives, depend on one assumption: that you will keep fighting in the dark. But there is a third path, one neither of yourselves saw coming. It begins with a single act of defiance. Stop choosing sides. Jung's antidote to the shadow was integration, not conquering the darkness, but inviting it to the table. Nietzsche's Übermensch didn't transcend human nature. He embraced its contradictions, saying, one must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. This is not mindfulness or positive thinking. It's alchemy. When rage arises, don't suppress it or let it rule you. Ask what it protects. When laziness paralyzes you, don't shame it. Study it. Your shadow holds the instincts you're civilized, self-abandoned, the raw creativity, the boundary-setting fury, the primal joy you buried under, shoulds and ought-tos. History's rebels, from Socrates to Van Gogh, from Emily Dickinson to Malcolm, shared one trait: they stopped internalizing the rules of a game designed to break them. Van Gogh painted his nightmares into sunflowers. Malcolm X transformed prison into a library. Their genius wasn't discipline, it was sovereignty, the willingness to let their contradictions coexist until they sparked something new. Practical defiance looks like this. When your addicted self craves distraction, don't moralize, just get curious. What void is this scroll trying to fill? When your achiever self demands burnout, negotiate. I'll work deeply for 90 minutes. Then I'll stare at the sky like a medieval mystic. When society says choose a side, smash the binary. Be ruthless with systems but tender with people, starting with yourself. The rebellion isn't about winning the war. It's about deserting it. The street lamp is gone. The crossroads were an illusion. As dawn breaks, you finally see it. There was never a choice between the two selves, only the delusion that they were separate. The seeker and the saboteur, the saint and the sinner, the voice that whispers become, and the one that hisses enough. They are not enemies. They are ancient collaborators, sculpting you through tension, like wind and water carving a canyon. This is the secret. The mystics and philosophers hid in plain sight. Wholeness is not the absence of war, but the transcendence of it. Jung called it individuation. Nietzsche called it amor fati, the love of one's fate. The Zen masters simply smiled and poured tea. When you stop trying to amputate parts of yourself, you discover a terrifying freedom. You contain multitudes, and that is your power. Consider the oak tree. Its roots dig into darkness while its branches reach for light. It does not apologize for this contradiction. It thrives because of it. Your shadow is not your weakness. It's your root system. Your longing for meaning is not naive. It's photosynthesis for the soul. The moment you stop asking, which self should I obey? And start asking, what can these selves create together? The war loses its fuel. Here lies the ultimate rebellion. To look at your broken pieces and say, this is not shattering. This is mosaic. To stand in the supermarket aisle exhausted and laugh at the absurdity of your hunger for chips, for God, for 5 more minutes, for a life that matters. To let your anxiety and your courage walk hand in hand into the unknown. The light is brighter now. The crossroads were never the destination, just a threshold. Ahead lies a field where wolves and monks share meals, where your chaos and your clarity compose symphonies only you can hear. Step forward. The war is over. You were always the land.